Hello everyone. RJ here. I hope you are having a fabulous night. So, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the importance of finding your people. And part of that shifts and changes throughout our journey, but it's always going to be important to have some sort of support system. And I wanted to first remind some of you that Um, if you haven't found this group of people yet, that's okay. They exist. And part of what might be getting in the way a bit is you still living under the supposed tos and shoulds and really still hiding who you actually are, right? So you may find yourself right now where you have a circle of people, but even though you have a circle of people, you still don't feel really seen, or you kind of feel a bit of an outsider, even though that's not necessarily, um, even though like it's not coming from them, you just may not feel like you quite fit in or mesh with the group as well. And a large part of that is really more like you may not mesh with that group, but a large part of what is in the way of figuring that out or not is you not being true to who you know yourself to be, right? And how, like, the person we know ourselves to be and understand ourselves to be changes and evolves over time if we let it. For a lot of us, we have these layers of like other people's expectations really that have been buried, that have buried like who we are at our core. And so some of us lose touch with that. And if you're still in a place where you're disconnected from yourself, your friends, while they'll be great, it still may not be like sometimes you feel like more of an observer than actually like living in it. And as you discover yourself and reconnect with yourself, you need to let more of that come out. And that's how you're going to actually find your people, right? Is by letting as much of who you know yourself to be actually be seen and be witnessed. And just being in that, resting in that without judging it, without hiding it. And so, so sometimes the journey, like we have different places and different parts of our journey. And as we go on like this healing journey, the spiritual journey, some aspects of it we need to experience without others. Like it's for us only to walk through. But for a large part of it, there's going to be groups or like one or two people or whatever here and there that you will find. And it's so important to have them, and to just have a group where you're seen and understood and supported. And some of us, when we are, especially this is especially true if you are that person who's used to being like the strong one, sometimes we'll push away our own group because we put on this facade like everything's okay, right? Because we have this idea in our mind that if we fall apart, like everything else around us falls apart, and that you are what's keeping everything like together and okay. And if you aren't the one doing that, that it's going to be chaos or like too much for someone else to handle because you know that they're going through stuff. And that's usually not the case. So we can sometimes, decide that like, oh, we're okay, we're fine, and give that answer when we're not really okay and we're not really fine. And so sometimes we're the ones that are keeping other people at arm's length and not allowing those relationships to fully develop and deepen. And when we can learn to stop doing that. Like, the best relationships are when we can be who we are, right? And when we can be open and um, just honest with who we are and accept that, and the other person can be open and honest with who they are, right? And they can accept that, and we can accept them, and we can accept each other. And I would say, like, the more colloquial way to say it was that we could be vulnerable, but I think for a lot of us, when we reach that place, it doesn't, like, yes, it's very open. Yes, it would be very easy to be um, like targeted if that was what someone was doing, but you don't feel super vulnerable. Like, I don't know, I feel like vulnerable is often a thing that kind of triggers people, and I think it's really a bad thing to be vulnerable, so I hesitate to use that term. But it's really just a very high level of openness and acceptance and um, a desire to understand, right? That happens. And when we can do that, like, part of it is us being able to do that with ourselves. Because I find when you can do that with yourself, you can do that so much more easily with other people. And when you have that relationship with yourself and you are able to, like, stabilize that, you kind of bring your own safety. Like, it doesn't feel the same. But having those people that you can just be with, right? Like, there's nothing that you have to necessarily do. Like, you guys can sit and just say nothing, and it's still going to be a pleasant experience because you're just being. There's no judgment. There's no real, like, restriction there. So I encourage you to find your people, and remember that if you can't find your people, um, like, check in with yourself and see if you're being you to the fullest extent that you know how. And also just understand that sometimes it may be, you may be in a part of your journey where you do have to do it alone. So it may just take some time. But there are people, and also remember that sometimes your people will not be local to you, right? I have so many people now that um, like, we're friends. We talk, we check in on each other, we care about each other, we root for each other, we get on the phone when one of us is going through something. And I've never met them in person, right? Like, they live halfway across the world from me. But they are still my people. So just keep that in mind, that sometimes we think of, like, finding our people and we assume that it's going to be something that's local. It may not be. And as we journey and expand and grow and shift and change, our people will too. And it's something that sometimes can be very saddening, if we try to hold on to it. It's something that can sometimes be very confusing, because suddenly you have people that maybe have been in your life for a very long time, but now you guys are not at you guys don't come from the same perspective anymore. Like, you guys' perspectives are very different and have shifted to a point where that relationship needs to um, evolve, change, maybe even dissolve, right? So just keep that in mind when you're going through this journey, that there will be periods where it will be you, because you need to walk through certain things um, by yourself. And then again, like, there are also going to be other times where you're going to have, like, a handful of people, or you may meet a whole community of people that vibe with you, that share similar perspectives, that can teach you things that you can learn from, that you can teach them, um, and everything in between. So allow your relationships to shift and change as you do, and be grateful for them and allow yourself to be okay releasing them when they've served their purpose, right? Because some people we encounter and they're meant to be in it with us for the long haul. And some people we encounter and they're just for a season, right? And some people we encounter and they're just there for the lesson. So, not everyone is really meant to be permanent in your life. And that's okay. That's kind of the beauty of it. And that's part of why, like, to me, I think that's even more reason to appreciate the people that are in your life right now, and to appreciate the people when they do come into your life. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Take care. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.